Welcome to One on One.
Good evening, Patrick.
First of all, let me congratulate you on your appointment.
Yes. Thank you.
And then secondly, let's just get also into the nature of your employment. I think a lot of people are wondering with a bank that is traditionally not been led by a woman, first of all, and second of all, by a black woman. There's a traditional legacy of white men. People are wondering about the nature of your appointment with response to what the Employment Equity Commission was saying last year, that companies like Bank of Windhoek don't deploy equity in their employment. So do you think that the bank is responding to this criticism when it comes to your appointment?
Patrick, my view is that given the nature and the scale of operations that Bank Windhoek has, I think firstly it would be responsible to appoint somebody purely on the basis of employment equity. My skills and experience do qualify me for this position, and on the basis of that, I was the best candidate and was hence appointed.
So what do you say to the critics that say that your appointment is actually symbolic in contrast to maybe masking some of the employment equity issues at the bank?
I disagree with that, firstly because I am a seasoned banker. I've spent 7 years at an executive level at Standard Bank, running a substantial division of that bank, as well as I've spent 8 years before that in Nampower, as well as rounding off my duties there as General Manager Finance and Treasury. So I do believe that I was the best candidate, and I was appointed on the merits of my qualifications and skills, as well as my experience. But I do think it was a cherry on top that I happen to be black and a female.
But do you recognize that the bank has employment equity issues and that the commissioner's statement might be valid? And is this something that you'll be addressing in your leadership?
I do celebrate diversity, and just by way of background, 60% of the bank's employees are female. So that's a good base to start on. There are quite a few successful women in senior management positions at the bank, but like any organization, maybe there's work to be done, and that work needs to be embraced and seen through.
But do you recognize that the bank has an issue with employment equity?
Well, Patrick, I've just started, so I haven't really gone into the depth of to what extent that might be, so I can't confirm that at this juncture.
Okay, so in terms of maybe looking at what you're talking about diversity, is there an acknowledgement that you can, for instance, with your appointment, like you're saying, killing two birds with one stone, do you think that this can happen at other levels? Because when people talk a lot about racial appointments, they think that underqualified people needs to be appointed. But there's a lot of research that shows currently that sometimes black people are qualified and never given the opportunity. So for those kind of people, do you think that that'll be a priority for your leadership?
I think first and foremost, my priority as the MD of Bank Windhoek, currently designate, is to first and foremost ensure a unified team. The success of any organization lies in a unified team and making sure that everyone in the team feels celebrated and included. Secondly, I do also believe in diversity and in diverse teams. So that for me is a priority.
So let's look a little bit about, a lot of the times we have an ideal of a place, like a spectator, but you're not a spectator anymore watching the bank happen. You're a player now.
Yes.
Do you think, with the history and the traditions that the banks have, that you'll be taken seriously in your leadership, or will you just be rubber stamping?
I'm certainly not a person who's prone to be to rubber stamp anything in my life, and that's certainly I've never been and I never would be. And I think obviously the board of Bank Windhoek, who have appointed me, know this as well. So I definitely doubt that I would ever be in a position where I'd rubber stamp. But at the same time, I need to act responsibly and ensure that we maintain the growth. And at the same time, of course, there is always an opportunity to look at a diverse team, which I believe in. But to outright make a statement about pursuing one objective, I don't think is appropriate.